Look into my eyes. When you see me on a show, when you see these fans, you know you've got the best in the damn world.
This is the Wrestling Matters podcast where we stand up for professional wrestling.
Here we fucking go!
Well, enough is enough, and it's time for a change!
Professional wrestling! This is it! This is us standing up!
Yes! 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 Yes!
That's 13-14!
Dina, I am the best in the world.
Cause that's the bottom line! Cause Stone Cold Simpson!
Beautiful people, that's right, of the wrestling world. It is me, that H-E-A-D, Anthony Walker, back with you for another installment, episode 123 of the Wrestling Matters podcast. How are we all doing? Hope you guys are well. Hope you guys are well, whatever it is you're doing. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the wrestling this week as well. Very shocking Ring of Honor this week. Shocking if you are Bullet Club. Not shocking if you are a Bullet Club fan. But yeah, very, very shocking Ring of Honor this week. I will talk about that more later on, as I will Raw, as I will Smackdown, NXT, yes, TNA as well. I will throw TNA in there as well. I won't talk about it briefly, but I'll mention it. And I will also mention ICW as well, as we always do, guys, as we always do. Now, don't get me wrong, okay? Don't get me wrong on many things, okay? But let's just say this. WWE.com never ceased to amaze me. And_I'll get to that in a second. You can listen to the Wrestling Matters podcast on soundcloud.com/wrestling_matters_podcast. You can listen to it and check it out on youtube.com/AJW Wrestling Matters. And also, you can check it out on the Swerve Network. That's right. Swerve Network. Daz and Craig running the Max Wrestling. Offshoot Radio by James Belmont. Sunday Segway with Kinney and co. As well as Evan, who's also on Max Wrestling. Don't forget to check them out each and every week, guys. Show them some love. Show them what... And just do what you do, as only you can do. Now... Also, check out Mystery Island. Can't forget Mystery Island. Check out my other partners as well. RFW with Jeffrey, who was on a couple of weeks ago. Don't forget to check him out as well. Also, be sure to check out OSW TV, Only Scottish Wrestling. Be sure to check them all out. All the links should be in the description below if you're seeing this on YouTube, SoundCloud, or even the Swerve Network as well. But be sure to check out Mystery Island as well. A lot of good stuff coming there. Mystery Island, facebook.com/back to the island. Get yourself over there. I believe August 15th. I believe it's around about August 15th, 14th time, round about there. Will Ospreay is due there. So, like I say, 56 to 58, Oxton Road, Merseyside, Liverpool, whatever the hell they call that place. That will be the first place I go to if I'm ever in Liverpool, which I will do at some point. That's my aim. I know I'm going to be in Liverpool at some point. So get yourself over there, check it out, and enjoy the great goodness that is there for your viewing and pleasure. And also, don't forget to get the autographs now and again. Big shout out to Mystery Island for my D'Lo Brown autograph too. That's twice I've had an autograph from him. But anyway, I want to talk about a few other things as well. I'll get to them later on in the podcast. But now I want to talk about something the WWE put up. Oh joy. As we all know, we are by far straight into the beautiful draft brand extension as it is now. And WWE put an article up on their website called "These 10 Free Agents Are Must Grabs for Raw and Smackdown Live." Two on there that would be a big grab: The Rock and The Undertaker. Don't know about them. Also, don't forget, Nikki Bella is still yet to come back. She'll be part of the now women's division. I'd probably see her on Raw. I'll be surprised if she goes to SmackDown, but Hey. Undertaker, I would probably see best on SmackDown. I don't know about The Rock. I think The Rock would be more fitted to SmackDown because SmackDown was his show. Learned to SmackDown, back in the day and everything, that's his show. But, like you say, you never say never in this business, especially in WWE. The other one, the fourth person they mentioned was the Brian Kendrick, who you can see on the CWC in the Cruiserweight Classic tournament. I'd be down with that. I would imagine he'd go to the Raw, though. Cruiserweight division coming to Raw and that. Bayley. I think, I hate to say it, she'd more fit Raw. With the women's division and that. I can't see her compete. Even though there's talk about, SmackDown getting their own women's title or whatever it is, I can't see her being on SmackDown. I see her more fitting to Raw, to be honest, as well. But we'll see. I mean, SmackDown's getting a lot of good talent on Raw. There's a lot of, rumours flying around at who they're going to get and everything, and I'll get to that later on. Crime Time. I would like to see Crime Time back. Yeah, Crime Time back. You got Crime Time versus The New Day, as it says here. Crime Time versus American Alpha, which would be fucking epic. Yeah, I mean, why not? Now, this next one's a big player, because he's been a big name, and he's been a big talk about it coming back, and that's Carlito. People want to see him back. People want him back on, whether it's Raw or SmackDown. I would probably send him to Raw so he can be with Primo and Cousin Epico. I'd have him join them too. Yeah, I agree with that. I definitely agree with that. It'd be more fitting in that respect. Put him with Primo and Epico on Raw. Don't have him with their gimmick. But, have them, so maybe make a group out of it. Or something, I don't know. But it'd be more fitting to see them on Raw. And the next one is Mickie James. I don't know. Yeah, I'd probably see her on Raw, or SmackDown Live. Either way, one works, because, with the new blood that's on there in terms of the women's division, it'll be a sight to hold. The other one is Tajiri. Now, he'd be fitting for the Cruiserweight division. Cruiserweight on CWC. Yeah. Get him back, and he's still got some juice there, and he's proved that definitely in the CWC. And like I say, put him to Raw. You've got him, you've got the Brian Kendrick, you've got Adrian Neville, Finn Balor, but I doubt he'd be in the Cruiserweight division. Finn Balor. I'd like to see Finn Balor fight these Cruiserweights, though. Don't get me wrong. I don't think he'd be in the Cruiserweight division, but I'd like to see him fight the Cruiserweight. Definitely Neville. Neville versus Tajiri, which would be good. All this, so much good stuff that's coming on. Right, those were the 9 that I mentioned. 9 that I didn't have a problem with. The one that I did have a problem with was a guy who, I believe it was last week's show, I talked about the WWE worst world champions in WWE history according to What Culture Wrestling, and this guy was number 1. The last competitor that they mentioned that is a, and I quote, must grab, is the Great Khali. Yes, you heard me correct. The Great Khali. The guy who can't friggin' wrestle to save his life. The only reason he became world champion is because Edge was injured, and plus he won it in a battle royal. The guy's 7 feet tall. He can't hardly walk. Yes, he had victories over John Cena and The Undertaker. Whoop-de-fucking-do. I guess to sum up this list, guys, I guess you could say 9 out of 10 in bad. I don't want to see the Great Khali back. I don't think he'd fit. I really, really, really don't think he'd fit. I mean, there's a lot of better talent out there that are probably free agents. I mean, one's already went to NXT. I'll get to that later on as well. But there's a lot of better talent out there that are free agents that would be better off than Great Khali. That's just my opinion on that. I mean, the whole thing just does not make any sense to me. I mean, the guy goes from a monster. He came in with Daivari. He was a monster. There's no question about that. This big you-know-what comes in and just tears everything up. He just teared everything up. He even beat The Undertaker, like it said. Had, some matches with John Cena as well. But this guy tore everything up. He was a monster back then, and then they changed him into this lovable, dancing, kissing Natalia guy, which ultimately killed him. But do I want to see him back in WWE? No. Straight bottom line on that one. Anyway, guys, that about wraps it up for part 1 of the Wrestling Matters podcast. I'll be back in part 2 with the Raw and Smackdown reviews and thoughts and whatever. So I'll be back right after this. Stay tuned. A lot to come in this 60-minute episode. See you in a bit.
If you like the Wrestling Matters podcast, why not check out their Facebook page at facebook.com/WM podcast and like the page and show your support to the podcast that stands up for professional wrestling, the Wrestling Matters podcast. Wrestling Matters, wrestling fans.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to part 2 of the Wrestling Matters podcast. Now, a little word of warning, guys. I am not very well at this point in time doing this for you guys, so if I don't sound enthusiastic or anything like that, I apologize, but I've had a horrible weekend. Sunday was not the best day I've ever had in my life, but I'm still consistent, and I will still bring you the podcast each and every Monday if it kills me. But yesterday I couldn't. Which was Sunday. I'm recording this on a Monday. I'm doing everything at the last minute, and it was just not good. Not good. But anyway, enough of that. Let's go to Raw and Smackdown talking points. Now, I'll run through the quick hits, and I'll talk about the main points that I feel need to be talked about. Charlotte and Chris Jericho defeat Women's Champion Sasha Banks and Enzo Amore. Braun Strowman development continues, and he gets a victory. Shining Stars beat Golden Truth. Did I say that? Okay. Seth Rollins confronts Finn Balor and pays for it. US Champion Rusev defeats the returning Mark Henry. Titus O'Neil, and by the way, I'll get to that in a second actually. Titus O'Neil beats Darren Young. Nia Jax gets her development going as well. She gets a win. WWE Tag Team Champions defeat Gallows and Anderson. Cesaro defeats Sheamus. Jinder Mahal is back in WWE at the expense of Heath Slater. Seth Rollins beats Sami Zayn. And Randy Orton delivers a message to the Beast. I'll get to that in a second. But I want to talk about the US Championship. I'll start with the US title. Rusev and Mark Henry. Now, don't get me wrong. They're trying to build Rusev up. You know, he's now the US champion. He's the Bulgarian Brute and newly married to Lana. But they're trying to build him up as the champion. You know, they're trying to make him that monster heel he once was back in the day before he went right into John Cena. We all know how that ended up. But from what I got this past week, it doesn't seem that it's going to last. Now, I don't know if Roman Reigns, because Roman Reigns came out and confronted Rusev, and they got into a set 2, if you will. Now, I don't know if Roman Reigns is still in WWE's back books and, you know, the top draw, so maybe they're going to put the US title on him. To be honest, I hope not. Yes, Roman Reigns is John Cena's 2.0. Yeah, so we thought. Doesn't seem that way anymore now. But, you know, Roman Reigns, looks like it's going to be Roman Reigns and Rusev down the road, probably at SummerSlam. I mean, I like it. The idea of that match, and I like the idea of them, you know, putting that championship on Roman Reigns, the US title. My question is, would it work? To be honest, I don't think so. You know, not as much as it worked on John Cena. It worked on John Cena to a T. Will it work on Roman? I doubt that. But it is what it is. Now, Jinder Mahal is back. Everybody thought the two-man band were back together again, but obviously he seized the opportunity to take a Raw contract at the expense of what was now his former best friend, I guess, Heath Slater. Poor Heath Slater, man. Rollins and Sami Zayn was good, very good. But the other main talking point, which I'll get to the part 2 of this, is welcome to Viperville. Now, somebody needs to talk to Paul Heyman about, you know, he was there doing his thing, cutting a promo, saying that Randy Orton wasn't man enough to get the RKO on Brock Lesnar. Then out of nowhere, he drops Lesnar with the RKO. Do not ever underestimate the Viper, because as he clearly sees there, he will get you. At some point, he will get you. I mean, come on. Out of nowhere, drops him, and everybody was coming down the aisle. Even Stephanie and Foley came down, but Orton did what... I guess in a way, Orton did what he did, back in the day when he turned on Triple H and just legged it up to the crowd area. But it was good. It was very good. And in my opinion, a great way to win Raw. And great for the feud, too, and great for the match as well, because you need to build that hype up. I know it's going to be an interpromotional match at SummerSlam between Lesnar and Orton, because Lesnar's on Raw, Orton's on Smackdown. So, perfect way to get, the ball rolling, if you will. And part 2 came on Smackdown, which I'm going to right now. Now, I don't know about Smackdown, but Smackdown was very good. I mean, people have their doubts about it. There's not enough depth on it, and Raw's got more depth than SmackDown. The only reason Raw's got more depth than SmackDown is because Raw's 3 hours. If both of these shows were 2 hours, it wouldn't be a problem. SmackDown Live quick hits were Bray Wyatt brought darkness to Dean Ambrose face to face with Dolph Ziggler. Basically, after the confrontation between SmackDown's main event at SummerSlam, Bray Wyatt made a statement challenging Ziggler to put his number 1 contendership up online, and to be honest, he did. Apollo Crews will meet The Miz at SummerSlam after defeating Kalisto and Baron Corbin. Becky, I'll get to this in a second. This is what I want to talk about. Becky Lynch and Eva Marie ended in a no contest. I'll get to that in a second, because I'm going to go rant about that, let me tell you. American Alpha... awesome vaudevillains. AJ Styles and John Cena agreed to their match, their one final match at SummerSlam. Orton beats Fandango via disqualification because Lesnar got some revenge. Heath Ledger was backstage with Daniel Bryan, and Rhino just flattened him with a go again. Natalya and Carmella ended in a no contest, and Dolph Ziggler retains the number 1 contendership for SummerSlam to face the WWE World Champion by beating Bray Wyatt. Now, before I get to anything else, I'll get to the Lesnar bit in a second. What the fuck is going on? And I'm sorry, guys. I try not to swear as much as I like to on this show, but when I swear and when I do this stuff, man, it's passion. Becky Lynch was supposed to be going one-on-one with Eva Marie. Becky was ready to go. Eva Marie came down. The minute she stepped in the ring, she faked an injury. For somehow strange, unknown reason, she ended up getting an injury and walked back to the locker room again. Did I miss something? Seriously? That's how they're going to use Eva Marie? I mean, even Becky Lynch was like, you gotta be kidding me. Seriously. And you wonder why she's getting booed out the building. Because it's stupid things like that. I don't know what the hell is going on. I don't know if it's booking. I don't know if it's storyline. I don't care, to be honest with you. But that was pretty... useless way to end a match, man. That was not cool. Not cool at all. And it made Becky look stupid too, in a way. Not as much as it made Eva Marie look stupid, but it made Becky Lynch look even worse, to be honest. Because she was there ready for a match, and then that happened. I mean, what do you say? And yes, Brock Lesnar got his revenge. Brock came out, Orton had Fandango beat. He hits the RKO. Next minute, Lesnar's flying in the ring. F5. Boom, boom, boom. And Brock left on his occurrence. Shane and Daniel Bryan ran out. Were more keen than Stephanie and Foley were on Raw. But in terms of which one was the best, I think in terms of which one was the best out of the two, I think SmackDown got the better deal out with that one, to be honest. The RKO on Raw was the better invade. I mean, we all knew at the end of the day, Lesnar, they wouldn't allow Lesnar to get, hurt like that. Lesnar got even. But I think out of the whole invasion thing, this week at least, it'd be interesting to see what happens next. I think SmackDown got the better deal out of that, to be honest, when Orton came out on Raw. That's just my opinion on that. But very interesting week, very interesting SmackDown and Raw. Can't wait till tonight's Raw, because apparently Foley's invited Daniel Bryan to Raw as well. So that should be interesting. We'll wait and see what happens. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of part 2 of the Wrestling Matters podcast. And I'll be back right after this in part 3 with a rundown of NXT and a main talking point from Ring of Honor. So stay tuned.
There's only one wrestling podcast that gives you honest, uncut opinions and the most unique trivia since WWE did The Weakest Link. And the only place you can hear the show-stealing podcast promo every single week.
covering WWE, TNA, Ring of Honor, Lucha Underground. Max Wrestling Podcast is the place for you. Join myself, Evan Money Michaela, the Phoenix, and the Butcher. Sundays at 7 p.m. UK time, 2 p.m. Eastern time with your host, Daddy Dangerously, on VOC Nation and the Swerve Talk Network.
Go to maxwrestling.wix.com/maxwrestling or follow us at maxwrestlinguk for more details.
Give in to the madness.
Be sure to listen to the Sunday Segway Wrestling Podcast.
What?
Every Sunday with Kenny Killer and the Galdem Sugar Shubs.
Yes! Yes!
With all the news, views, and laughter that you want.
They like jet airplanes. Woo! They like long limousines.
Every Sunday, the Sunday Segway Wrestling Podcast on Podomatic, iTunes, and YouTube.
So why don't you choke on that, slap nut?
Welcome back to part 3, ladies and gentlemen, of the Wrestling Matters podcast. In this part, we'll talk TNA, and I'll talk a main talking point about Ring of Honor as well. But we'll get to TNA. We'll get to TNA in part 4. We'll get to Ring of Honor in a second. Quick hits from NXT results this week. Hideo Itami beats Sean Malta. Malta. I believe that's the same person, Sean. I believe that's the same person from CWC. Mojo, so I'm glad he's got something there. Mojo Rawley and Chris Atkins ended in a no contest. NXT Women's Champion Asuka defeats Aliyah in a non-title match. The main event was NXT Tag Team Champions Revival defeating Team 6-1 in a non-title match. But the main talking point of NXT this week was the debut of Bobby Roode. That's right, Bobby Roode is in NXT. And he threatened to take NXT and change it forever. What does he mean by that? I don't know. Is he a fit? Is he a perfect fit? You're damn right he's a perfect fit. I mean, just thinking about the matches right now he could have. I mean, we've all seen matches with Samoa Joe in TNA. An interesting match with Samoa Joe in there as well. Hell, you could even wrestle Nakamura, which would be, beautiful in his way. I'll be all in for that, no doubt. You can have Hideo Itami wrestle him as well. You know, there's a lot of good things that could go down for Mr. Roode. We all know the capabilities and the credentials that he brings. He's a former tag team champion in TNA, former world champion in TNA. Well, is he capable of taking NXT and changing it forever? Yeah, I see him. I mean, that promo he gave on NXT, it was more like a Triple H promo from back in the day. That's just my opinion on that. I mean, back in the day, because he did it, the way he presented himself in that promo, the way he came across, it reminded me of Triple H. It really did. And, I'm very much looking forward to seeing what he can do in NXT as well. And the reason why Mojo Rawley's match with Chris Atkins, the reason why Mojo Rawley's match with Chris Atkins ended in a no contest, because Samoa Joe attacked Mojo Rawley. But in terms of Bobby Roode, I'm looking forward to big things for Mr. Roode in NXT. There will be big things for Mr. Roode in NXT. No question about that. Now, right. Let's talk about Ring of Honor, because Ring of Honor kicked off this week with Jay Lethal, and he wasn't too happy about what happened last week in his match, in his scheduled world title defense with Kyle O'Reilly, and how it went down, and how the Bullet Club cost Kyle O'Reilly a proper chance to have a shot at the world champion, and he wasn't too happy about it. So the advertised main event was Briscoes versus the Young Bucks. Jay had other ideas. He came out and asked Nigel to make it a 6-man tag, which means the Young Bucks get Adam Cole and the Briscoes get Jay Lethal. Nigel McGuinness agreed to it, and it ended up being a 6-man tag. But the match was good, but it was the ending that shocked the world. No question about that. Bullet Club shocked the world. Now, because of what happened last week, with Nigel McGuinness saying that as long as he's matchmaker of Ring of Honor, Adam Cole will never get a world title shot. The Bullet Club decided to send a message to Nigel McGuinness at the expense of Jay Lethal by humiliating him on national television, humiliating the Ring of Honor world champion, and shaving his head in front of the world. That's right. Jay Lethal went from haircut Jay Lethal, looking good, world champion, to baldy. That's right. Adam Cole and the Young Bucks shaved his head on national television. Now, this brought me to thinking, Adam Cole was never meant to get a world title shot. I think he's going to get, because I know Jay Lethal. Jay Lethal has been champion now for bloody nearly 2 years at the most, I would imagine. Maybe more, I don't know, I've lost count. But he ain't going to stand for that. He ain't going to stand for what the Bullet Club did to him. And be expecting to see Jay Lethal and Adam Cole down the road in Ring of Honor for the world title. Despite what Nigel said, because Nigel is going to have to retract his promise, because I know Jay Lethal is going to demand a match for the World Championship with Adam Cole. You could see it coming a mile away. And I don't think Ring of Honor would allow that. I mean, Jay Lethal's a man, and he's been a hell of a Ring of Honor World Champion. Dare I say the best in history, you know, or at least one of them, at least. He's beat them all, and Adam Cole wants to dethrone him. So, after what happened on Ring of Honor TV, be expecting to see a match between Adam Cole and Jay Lethal for the World Championship. And that about wraps it up for part 3, ladies and gentlemen. I'll be back in part 4 with TNA results and some news on ICW, and to congratulate them as well. So, see you in a bit.
If you like the Wrestling Matters podcast, why not follow the Wrestling Matters podcast now on Twitter at WM Podcast for all professional wrestling news. Wrestling Matters, wrestling fans.
Welcome back to part 4 of the Wrestling Matters podcast, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the podcast so far. And I'll talk about TNA, but I'll talk about it with one main talking point. Because I think next week there's going to be a unification match, because we have a new King of the Mountain champion in James Storm. Eli Drake defended the title against him, and James beat him. But Bobby Lashley called him out. Now, Bobby Lashley at the moment right now holds 2 singles titles, the World Championship and the X Division title. He basically challenged James Storm to a match which sees him going one-on-one with James Storm, and I would imagine all the titles are on the line. So that means Lashley will defend the World Championship and the X Division title, and James has to put up King of the Mountain as well. So basically, winner takes all. I don't know what TNA is going with that. Are they trying to make? Are they looking for ratings, or they're trying to make Bobby Lashley strong? Somebody back there one time said, "Oh yeah, let's put all 3 belts, all 3 singles titles on Bobby Lashley." What good does that do? I mean, what is he, Lance Storm? Seriously? I mean, he's already got the world title. Yes, he had to put yes, he won the X Division title, because he won the X Division title from Eddie Edwards. I mean, that was new and fresh, because everybody at the time hands in the X Division title and, goes for the world title and come away with nothing. So, the title for title match with Eddie Edwards was a great thing. But I don't see the point of this match with the King of the Mountain title. I mean, I think Bobby wants to be the first guy in TNA history to hold all 3 belts at the same time. But like I say, what is he, Lance Storm? Seriously? It makes no sense to me. But I'm sure it'll be a good match nonetheless. Now, I want to go to ICW and congratulate them. If you haven't seen it, I reviewed it last week. If you haven't seen it, go and watch it. Go and order the replays if you can get the replays. Or if not, subscribe to the on-demand service. Shug's Hoose Party was insane. It really was. Highlight moments were Chad Samuels turning on the Black Label and joining up with ICW. Joe Coffey winning the World Championship, or so we thought, until Wolfgang cashed it in. Now, everybody seems to be complaining about that, but I knew that wouldn't go down. I knew that was going to go down with, or Joe Coffey wouldn't last as ICW World Champion. The reason being is this, and you have to understand this. Joe Coffey beating Damo now advances to Fear and Loathing to face Kurt Angle. And I don't think ICW would have allowed the ICW title to be on the line for Kurt Angle. Because it's a one-night thing, it's a one-night only thing. Kurt Angle has the free time. He wants to come over and wrestle. So I don't think they would have allowed the ICW title to be on the line for Kurt Angle. So Wolfgang cashed it in, his Square Gold briefcase, and he's now the world champion. Be interested to see how that pans out now. Because you've got Wolfgang as the world champion. Dallas is now 50% owner with Red Lightning. Red Lightning fires Flex Hunter also in an exclusive video on ICW. Yeah, so Flex is no longer the security of Red Lightning anymore. Part 1 was done at Shug's house party. I'll tell you this right now. Fear and Loathing, maybe the last time we see Red Lightning. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to end this part here because I'll be back in the final part with a top 10 from What Culture. You want to know what it is? Tune in after this. See you in a bit.
Be sure to check out the Wrestling Matters channel at www.youtube.com/AJW Wrestling Matters for my exclusive review series that I'm doing on WCPW, What Culture Pro Wrestling, brought to you by the good folks at whatculture.com. Each and every week, I'll be reviewing their shows, whether it's loaded or their big upcoming shows as well, each and every week on their YouTube channel. Be sure to check out the Wrestling Matters channel for review shows each and every week. You can also download them for free on SoundCloud. Wrestling Matters, wrestling fans.
Be sure to listen to the Sunday Segway Wrestling Podcast.
What?
Every Sunday with Kenny Killer and the Galdem Sugar Shugs.
Yes! Yes!
With all the news, views, and laughter that you want.
They like jet airplanes. Woo! They like long limousines.
Every Sunday, the Sunday Segway Wrestling Podcast on Podomatic, iTunes, and YouTube.
So why don't you choke on that, slap nut?
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the final part of the Wrestling Matters podcast. Hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. This is the final part. A few quick promotions here and there. You can see and listen to this podcast on the Swerve Network with Max Wrestling, Sunday Segway, Offshoot Radio, and Evan McCabe's podcast as well, if he still does it. I don't know, but I would imagine it's on there. So be sure to check everybody out on the Swerve Network. Also, check out Mystery Island as well, guys. You've got to check these guys out. These guys have been super cool to work with, and I always mention them on this podcast because I always get good things, or receive good things in a way, and I thank them for that as well. And I want to talk about TNT Wrestling a little bit more as well on this podcast as well. So all will come in due time, I guess. But until then, check Mystery Island out. 56 to 58 Oxton Road in Liverpool, Birkenhead. Be sure to check it out. Will Ospreay's coming there at some point this month. We are in August now. I think it's 15th of August. I'll be out, I would imagine. So get yourself over there and check out the good stuff and get yourself some autographs as well. For more information on Mystery Island, facebook.com/Back to the Island. Also, check out Mystery Island Podcast as well. Yes, the guys do a podcast as well, which you can hear on Spreaker.com, which you can hear this podcast on there on occasions as well. So be sure to check them out on Spreaker.com. That's not easy to say, but anyway. Also, guys, I want to give you some quick news. According to Twitter this past week, I would imagine this past week, for anybody who was looking forward to seeing Shelton Benjamin on Smackdown soon, will be very disappointed. Because he has suffered an injury which is going to keep him out for months, and he put it on his Twitter page that he will not be joining WWE anytime soon, which is a shame, but he will not be joining WWE anytime soon due to this injury. So will he be joining WWE when he's better? Probably. but we'll have to wait and see on that one. But until now, all I know is this: he ain't joining WWE anytime soon due to this injury. So get well soon, Shelton. Hopefully we'll see you in the WWE very soon. Now, what culture pro wrestling, or what culture wrestling? By the way, WCPW is back tonight as well, so I will be doing a podcast right after that show, so be sure to look out for that, exclusive to the YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/AJW Wrestling Matters. Now, 10 moves WWE banned for being too dangerous. Number 10, this is called the What Culture Wrestling. Number 10 is the chair shot to the head. The chair shot to the head is probably the most dangerous thing in the world. You know, I mean, I'll give you an example of it. Go and watch the Royal Rumble of 1999 and watch The Rock beat the living dog out of Mick Foley, Mankind, with the chair shot. And it was so brutal. And it was so brutal, like I say, because his wife was at ringside. Number 9 is the pile driver. Now, you do see the odd tombstone now and again, but I don't think we're talking about the tombstone, and plus you tell The Undertaker and Kane not to do it. We're talking about the one that Jerry Lawler used as his finishing move. The last time we saw that on WWE TV, CM Punk used it on John Cena. We haven't seen it since. And that power driver move is famous for ending Austin, basically. So, number 8 is the curb stomp. That's why Seth Rollins is using the pedigree. The curb stomp seemed too dangerous, and it was attacking the head area too much, and they seemed too dangerous, which, to be fair, is true, but, you know, I guess it's see how you take the bump, really. You know, when Seth does it on you, or when someone does it on you, it's up to you to, you know, to sell it and take the bump, not go straight head first down the thing. But it was banned nonetheless. Number 7 is the Canadian Destroyer, made famous by Petey Williams, the flip pile driver, as it's called. He gets you in like a pile driver position, or goes for the pile driver, but flips over, and one false move out of this, or one mistake out of this, and you're dead. You're done. Adios, career over. So, yeah, I mean, you can understand why WWE probably saw this on TNA once and thought, that ain't going to be here anytime soon. Boom, banned. So, you can probably understand why Petey Williams is not in WWE. Number 6 is Kaneko Buster. Now, this is, you know, muscle buster position. Now, Samoa Joe uses the muscle buster, but when he gets him in this position, he falls back, and, you know, they fall back on their back and take the bump there. This move is, you get him in the position like if you're going to give a muscle buster, but you drop to your knees, and the shoulder, the neck of the opponent takes the full brunt on your shoulder. So the victory star drop is next as well, which is the victory roll from the top rope, quite frankly. You know, them victory rolls you do on the ground. I mean, many people thought that Sasha Banks did it, but Sasha Banks and Bayley did it, but no, Bayley did a reverse Rana from the top rope. The move is where you hook your legs under the arms and then fall back, and it is dangerous from the top rope. There's no question about that, because it can give you a neck ache. The Dragon Screw Net Whip. Now, this is like Randy Orton's DDT, except it's on the top rope. You're putting both the legs on the top rope. You're not putting it on the second rope, and you're getting like in the position, and then you're whipping. You're going under, and you're whipping the neck area, which lands on your neck, basically. So, I mean, it's what Goldberg used to do, but he never used to use it on the ropes. So that was banned. The other move that was banned was diving headbutt, which is many reasons why we have no longer got Chris Benoit with us today, and the reason why Daniel Bryan is out and retired. And the inventor of the move, which is Harley Race, has went on record in saying that you wish he never invented it. So it says it all, really, doesn't it? I mean, I used the move when I did some wrestling training, but I used to try and do it safely. But yeah, you can probably understand why. It's not good for the neck area or the head. The top rope big boot. Now, this is the same move that Sid Vicious tried to do in the WCW pay-per-view and broke his leg. Yeah, broke his leg. Snapped his leg. Go and watch it. I believe it was at the Sin pay-per-view or Creed or whatever it was in the 4-way. his leg snapped in half. Yeah. The next one after that, and the final one, is the Burning Hammer, which is a reverse Death Valley driver, I'm guessing. It's funny how most of these moves that are banned, you still get to use them on a computer game, you know. You can use the Power Driver, you can use the Burning Hammer on WWE 2K16, and in real life, they're banned. You know, I know it's a computer game, but, you know, it is what it is. I always like to use, if I was gonna do the Burning Hammer, I would use it and have them take a face bomb, you know. Move inside, get him into the DVD, and then switch it into like if I was giving a DDT, you know. I never really thought about doing a thing move, but anyway. That's the top 10, ladies and gentlemen, for What Culture Pro Wrestling, and hope you guys enjoyed that. And yeah, that about wraps it up for the Wrestling Matters Podcast, episode 123. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. Download it for free on SoundCloud at soundcloud.com/wrestling_matters_podcast. Check it out on the YouTube channel. Also check it out on the Swerve Network as well. Look out this week for my other bonus podcasts that I'll be doing on WCPW and CWC. Hopefully I'll get to do them this week because I'm still recovering from being ill on Sunday. So until next time, guys, hope you guys have enjoyed the podcast. Sorry I didn't sound enthusiastic, but that's what being ill does to you. But I still managed to give you this podcast, and you can't say that I'm not a trooper. Until next time, guys, episode 124. Peace out.
Well, enough is enough, and it's time for a change.
Professional wrestling! This is it! This is us standing up!
Yes, 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 yes!
That's 13-14!
Dina, I am the best in the world.
Cause that's the bottom line. Cause Stone Cold said so.